Okay, hello guys and welcome to another GeoGuessr video. Now this time what I'm going to do is talk to you guys, especially those who are newer at the game, about how to get better at the game because well I've seen a lot of people asking me recently about like they want to get better at the game but they're not really sure how to go about it, or like what they should learn, where to look, and yeah, just what to play basically. So I have made a video in the past talking about how to get good at GeoGuessr, but that was geared more towards like how to get like pro at GeoGuessr, like how to be like a very good pro player or like competitive player or something like that. But this one is going to be geared more towards beginners. So if you're just starting out in the game and like there's a lot of things that are available, but then you need to know what exactly is useful, what exactly to look for, and like what path you can follow to get better at the game. So this is what this video is going to be about. It's not about it's not about being a pro at the game or making insane guesses or anything like that. It's just about simply about how to improve at the game from a very basic level. So let's say you've just started out at the game and now you want to get to a decent level at least. So how do you go about this? Let's talk about that. So first of all, if you want to improve at any game, not just GeoGuessr, but any damn game, the first thing that you need to do is play. So you need to play a lot, okay? Second thing that you need to know is what to play. Um, there's a different bunch of different game modes on GeoGuessr. You know that you have like competitive stuff, you have normal maps that you can play in the classic modes, you have quizzes, you have play with friends, like team duels, live challenges, all of that. So which one do you choose? What should you play to get better? So that's one thing you need to know. Third is where to play, because it's not always on the GeoGuessr website that that's the best choice to play. There's also other avenues, so I'll talk about that. And then finally, what to learn or where to learn. I don't know. So these are the 4 points that I kind of want to talk you through because this is what is most important if you want to improve at the game. So first of all, you need to play the game, right? So to play the game, of course, you can go to the website. And then you can make an account, you can make a free account. But if you have a free account, you're restricted by how much time you're allowed to play. So if it's possible for you, I'd definitely recommend getting a GeoGuessr Pro account. You have like a monthly subscription option, an annual subscription option. You can choose whatever is best suited for you. But it really helps, and I think it's actually quite reasonably priced considering how expensive like the Google API costs are for the developers. So I think it's pretty reasonably priced, and if you really enjoy the game and really want to improve the game, then I think it's worth investing some money into this. But I also understand that it's not really possible for everyone to get a pro account. Everyone has their own circumstances and whatnot. So if you don't have the opportunity to get a pro account, uh, then it's still possible for you to improve. And the way you can do that is firstly, you can do Playalongs. So let's say you have a friend who has a pro account. So that friend can go and create a challenge on a map. So let's say you go here, click play, you click challenge, and you click invite friends. And then you have a link. So the friend can share this link with you, and then you can play this game even without a pro account. To play challenge links, you don't need a GeoGuessr Pro account. So let's say I create 50 challenge links and send it to you, then you can probably just play 50 games in one day. So that's one way, but of course that's not really feasible. So and you may also not have a friend who has a pro account. So what you can do is you can go to YouTube and find some play along videos. I have a play along series on my channel as well. So you can go check that out. You can play those play-alongs. They help you quite a bit, in my opinion, because I also try to point out tips and whatnot during those games. So that's one way you can play a lot by checking out play-alongs. There's a bunch of different creators, YouTubers who make play along videos. GeoVisit has some, GeoPeter has some. Wolftrekker has a very good play along series, and yeah, there's just a bunch of people you can find. You could just like search on YouTube GeoGuessr play along, and you'll probably find a bunch of them. So that's that. That's for the play-alongs. But then you can also go to Twitch. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Twitch, but if you aren't, then I would recommend that you go to Twitch and go to the GeoGuessr category right here, and you'll see a lot of different people who are streaming the game. At any point of the day, there's at least going to be a few people streaming the game. So usually you can find someone to play with. Here, for example, you can join Hey Pando, who is doing CG, which is chat guesser. And when you play, like if you see CG in the title, you also see it here. Lefty is doing some CG. So chat guesser is a great way to play with people. Um, you don't even need a GeoGuessr free account for that. You just need your Twitch account for it, and you can play with other people. So that way, usually at like any point in the day, there'll be someone who's streaming CG at least. So even if you don't have a pro account, you can always play GeoGuessr games on Twitch. So that's a great way. Um, so yeah, that's basically the point. That if you want to play, then if you want to improve, then you need to play a lot. And in order to play a lot, it's ideally good to have a pro account. But if not, then you can always play with others on Playalongs or Twitch or whatnot. But if you do have your pro account, then you can also play different maps. Learning World, for example, is a map where you have like a bunch of clues that spawn, so they can help. So yeah, if you have a pro account, you can play a lot of different maps and try to improve using them. So what to play, that's what I'm talking about pretty much. So let's get into that. So firstly, let's address what you should play of these game modes, right? Countries like BR countries, BR distance duels. Um, in my opinion, competitive maybe can be fun to some people, but the problem is that it's not really the best way to improve with the game. So if you really want to improve with the game, don't really worry about your rating or your season points or any of that, because it's really not going to help you improve with the game. Reasons for that, firstly, is that the like competitive game modes make use of the default world map, which is not really that good of a map. Surprisingly enough, it's not that good of a map. Like every location is pointed to the north. You're looking at the world. The distribution of locations is quite weird. You'll get a unreasonably high amount of like Singapore, Vienna in Austria, and that sort of stuff. So, and then there's going to be a lot of different areas which just never show up on this map, which have coverage. So, for example, there's coverage in Vanuatu, which no one knows because it's not on this map, but it exists. So if you play other maps like Community World, for example, or a diverse world, or an improved world, or I don't know, a bunch of maps like those, rural world, AI generated world, pinpointable world. There's so many good maps that you can play, and they all have their own like charm. They have their own unique thing about them. Pinpointable world is all like no moving pinpointable locations, um, that sort of stuff. So I'd recommend go check these out and play these instead of the default world map. I know a lot of players who are starting out just play the normal world map, but that is not really advisable in my opinion because yeah, it's just it's not it's it's got quite a lot of flaws, and I think trulybuzzy did a video on why the world map is not that good. So I'd redirect you to that. So I'll try to include a link in the description, but if not, then you can probably just look it up as well. So that's that. So ideally, I'd say don't like you can play competitive modes, but don't use them as your means to try and improve at the game because you can only get so far with playing those. And also avoid the world map, play these kind of maps instead. Now, what you can still do is you can also play with friends. So let's say you start a party, you can play live challenges, you can play team duels, but then when you do that, you can always set the map to be a better map, so you can play like a community world or something. So that way it doesn't just have to be the classic games. You can play like different format. Bullseye is a pretty fun mode. Right here. Okay, I can't to discard this, but yeah, there are different, like a lot of fun modes that you can try out to play, and you can play like different maps if you're playing with friends. But if you're sticking to the in-game competitive stuff, then you're pretty much stuck with the world map, which is the biggest problem, I'd say. And also the fact that there's going to be like cheaters and stuff in this, because yeah, I don't know. So all that being said, that's one thing. So playing these maps and then playing these kind of modes. Another thing that is something I wanted to bring up is how you should play them, because I know a lot of people who are starting out just play it on default settings so they can move around, look for clues, find maybe a flag, a domain, or some kind of information. So like right here, if you don't know where you are, you're just going to keep moving, moving, moving. Here you see something, but you probably don't know what it is, so you keep moving. Actually, you do have a bit of language here, right? So maybe you see this and you recognize that this is a Mandarin, so maybe you are in Taiwan because mainland China does not have coverage, and then you guess Taiwan. But the thing is, when you move around, you sort of like never give yourself an incentive to improve, right? Because if you don't know where it is, you'll just keep moving until you find something that tells you where it is, like maybe a domain, maybe a flag, maybe just a country name, or maybe some signs. But when you're playing no moving, so if you played this location no moving, then you wouldn't have a Chinese or any of those characters, no language. So how do you guess this? Well, you have an electric pole right here. You see it's got stripes on it, diagonal stripes going to the bottom, yellow and black stripes. That's a typical Taiwanese pole. You can look at it from closer here. Um, so this is a Taiwanese pole, and you would have probably never bothered to learn about it if you just moved and found like a language every time you were in Taiwan. And that's sort of the issue with moving games, is that you don't really improve that much when you play moving games, especially when you're starting out. So this mirror, this pole, this is already enough. Double yellow lines in the middle, that should already be enough information to guess Taiwan here. But if you're playing moving, you'll probably not learn about that. And same thing here, like this time we should be in. Wait. Well, I'm actually not sure. I think this is Indonesia, but like this number plate looks like an Indonesian number plate to me, so I think this should be Indonesia. Let's check it out. Okay, it is Indonesia. It's this Batam Island, or Bintan Island, actually, sorry. So the number plate there was the hint, and it's got a black plate with 3 white strips on it. That's an Indonesian plate. But if you didn't know about that, you'd probably just move, move, move until you found, let's say, a flag. Indonesia has a lot of flags around it, so you'll probably find a flag soon enough. Um, but yeah, that's sort of the problem with this. You have some language here already which could help, and that sort of stuff. So that's the problem with moving games, is that you don't really challenge yourself too much, and that is why I would recommend you to actually play no moving or NMPZ games when you're starting off, which may seem counterintuitive because they are harder game modes, but they are also the best way to learn, because then you're forced to look at and learn clues which you otherwise would have ignored in moving games. So let's say you're playing NMPZ, start a game, and okay, there's a massive blur and there's a flag, so let's try again. That's not a good demonstration. So this one, for example, NMPZ is not really easy, And if you're moving, you could probably just move and find a sign or language, and that would have told you where this is. But if you're playing NMPZ, you don't have that. You only have this picture to work with. But then you start paying attention to other things which you would have normally ignored, like this wide blur on the bottom. This is this is called a low camera. So low camera blur. So basically, the Google camera is closer to the ground on the Google Street View car that took this coverage, and because the camera is closer to the ground, it's like results in a wider blur around the car. So when you see this wide blur, it's going to be low cam, and then you get low cam in like Switzerland, Japan, and a few other places. But like when you see like this pavement and this kind of guardrail, it's never really going to be Switzerland. It has to be Japan. So low cam and just this pavement and whatnot should tell you that you are in Japan. So that's um that's the thing with NMPZ games, is that it like forces you to start paying attention to things that you would normally have ignored. So that's one thing. But I think NMPZ still restricts you quite a bit because there's very limited information. You only see a picture. But if you're playing no moving, then you can look around and you can find more clues. So here, for example, no, NMPZ, this might have been a little bit hard, but if you pan around, you can see a cross on the back of this sign, which is a typical thing in Colombia. So if you're playing no moving, you can like access more clues. There's yellow plates, so you can zoom, so you can see these yellow plates better, and that sort of stuff, you know. So um, I forgot what I was saying. So yeah, no moving games I would suggest is probably the best way to improve when you're starting out, because you are still forced to like learn a different like bunch of different clues because you can't move around until you find a sign. But then you also like can pan around and zoom, so you still have a decent amount of clues to look at, and you don't have to just stare at a picture, you know. So that being said, no moving, in my opinion, is the best choice. But of course, like if you could like if you really want to do like a moving game, then I'd suggest doing it with a timer, you know, 1 minute timer, maybe 1 minute 30 seconds at most. And that way you can't really move for too long, so you won't just move for 10 minutes until you find a flag or something. You just have to make use of whatever you can find within a minute. But in my opinion, usually like 90% of the times there's going to be a hint at spawn itself when you're playing no moving, so you don't really need to move in most locations. So that's why playing no moving kind of forces you to start paying attention to these things, and then you kind of don't need to move, right? If you just know the country at spawn, then you don't need to move until you find out more information. So um, that was the point. If you really want to play moving games, put a timer on. If not, then just stick to no moving, in my opinion. So that's the second point. That's what to play. Now, where to play is also a good question, because while you could just keep on playing by yourself, let's say you start. Okay, let's not do that. Let's do a no moving game. Let's start a no moving game, and let's say now you are ready to practice and ready to learn. Now, what do you pay attention to here? Let's say if you're just playing by yourself and you're playing no moving, like, do you know what to pay attention to? Like, should you pay attention to these bricks? Should you pay attention to these specific trees? Should you pay attention to this like curbs maybe? Or this pavement here, the gates, the car? Like, what should you pay attention to? You know, there's a bunch of hints that are there in this picture. But not all of them are that useful. Like, is the street lamp really that useful? No. But then, you know, if you just keep on playing by yourself, I feel like it'll take you way longer to pick up on things and learn stuff. So, in my opinion, it's always nice to play with others who can point out these things to you and tell you what is important. So, here, having gated houses is very common in South Africa. The sun is in the north, so you're in the southern hemisphere. You have a white car, like white back of Google car, And you can see that you're kind of driving left. This car is towards the left side of the road, so that helps you guess South Africa here. And that's the thing, is that if you play with others, then they can point out that, oh, like here in this location, this pole is important, and everything else is really not that important to guess the country. So that's how you do it, tie pole and all that. So where to play? I'd say there are a few places that you should try. Uh, I also talked about these earlier. Play along videos are very nice, especially if they're the play alongs, like people are explaining their thought process, explaining some tips, whatnot. So I have a play along with tips series on my channel. You can check that out. You also have other YouTubers who have done it. GeoPeter has done some, Wolftrekker has done some, and whatnot. So you can learn a lot from those. You can also learn a lot from Twitch. So um, as I showed you here, not only can you play with others, but you can also learn a lot from them. So let's say you go to Pando's channel here. He's playing some GeoGuessr, and so this is the location. This should be UAE, but maybe okay, he's actually playing duels now, but let's say Lefty's playing some GeoGuessr. So let's see Lefty's channel. So here, for example, he's playing NMPZ, and this is all you have. So this is a hard location. You may not know what to look at here, how to guess this. So if you're struggling, like once the round is finished, here you can see. Let me first talk about how to play chat guess actually. So you type exclamation CG, and that takes you to a map. So you go to this map. You I guess if you go to this map, you first need to log in. So on the top right, you'll have a login option. So you log in to your Twitch account from here, and then once you've done that, then you should be able to guess from this website itself. So you see this location, and I think this is Russia. Let's say it's somewhere out here. So you click there and you press guess, and then your guess goes in and it'll show up somewhere here. So there you see I was ninth this time, so I wasn't really that close, but I got the streak, so that tells me that I got the correct country. So this basically just means country streak. So if you get 5 countries in a row correct, then it'll show you 5 streaks. So that's how it works. So I got a 1 streak because this was my first guess, but that means that I got the correct country. So we should be in Russia, and yeah, So if you didn't know this, and if you're playing GeoGuessr and you didn't know why it was Russia, and everyone else seems to have gotten it, after the round is over, and after the streamer has made their guess, you can always just go and ask, hey, can you uh, like point out some tips for why you guessed Russia here? And you can send that, and then I'm sure the streamer will usually point it out to you. If not, then someone in chat will, because when you're playing GeoGuessr, then usually a lot of good players will come together to play, and usually someone of them at least will be kind enough to help you. Someone will always know where it is. So this time it was way farther north in Russia, so I was pretty far off, but that's the point. So play where to play, playing in Playalongs, playing with streamers, GeoGuessr, and it doesn't just have to be GeoGuessr. You can also like find people who are doing team duels. So like looks like this person is doing team duels here, so you can join them, or you can find someone doing live challenges. Maybe there's a lot of people on Twitch who play with viewers, so I'd recommend doing that. Go and play with others on Twitch. That's a good way to learn. And outside of that, the last topic that I wanted to talk about was also what and where to learn. So, as I said, playing with others on Twitch or on Playalongs is a good way to learn, um, because then you learn specifically what things you should be learning. So, like if you start a game right here, then you should know that the most important things to pay attention to here are the Google car, the pole, and the driving side and the number plates for this location. So you don't really need to pay attention to, let's say, the curbs in this location. You don't really need to pay attention to, I don't know, like the road lines for this location. They're not really important for this country. This is Dominican Republic because of this Google car, this pole, and the stuff I was talking about. So that's my point, is that if you play with others, then they'll tell you which tips are actually important for a certain country or a certain location and which things are not. And that way you can kind of like, so for example, if you go to geohints.com, which is a great website, you have a lot of stuff here that you can learn, but there's also a lot of information. So if you're trying to learn bollards, then you're kind of like just overwhelmed with information, like you have like you don't really need to learn this Monaco bollard, or you don't really need to learn this Senegal bollard because you don't really see it too much in game. The Christmas Island bollard, like that is really not necessary. So if you play with others, then you'll sort of know what things are important to look for and what aren't, so you don't have to like learn like this, for example, Netherlands. I've never even seen that in game. So it's like you need to be kind of selective with what you learn and what you don't learn, because ultimately your brain can only learn so many things, right? So don't spend time learning everything that you see. Try to start playing with others so they can tell you what is actually important to learn and what isn't. Um, and another thing that I would like to point you towards is Plunkett.net, because here I think is the best place to access different GeoGuessr resources, access different just there's actually a lot of tools and things to get better. So if you go to Plunkett.net, there's an option to join the Discord. Excuse me. And then here is the Plunkett Discord. So they have a lot of GeoGuessr stuff. They have these channels here: GeoGuessr, metas, locations, scripts, tools, whatnot. This is also very nice because here you can find like links to like the country streak counter and whatnot that a lot of people ask, like where they can find. So people who are creating like useful scripts share them here, and all that stuff. But if you're starting out, what's more important to you is the metabot, which is probably the best part of Plunkett Discord in my opinion, because it just has so much information that you can learn. So if you are in this Discord, then commands and quiz commands. These are the two channels I would recommend you to check out. First of all, quiz commands, because as you can see, someone's playing it already. There are a lot of quizzes in this Discord which you can use to get better at the game. So if you just do a normal quiz, so I did here one for example, just do exclamation quiz and it asks you a quiz question. So your location is either in Serbia or North Macedonia. If the guardrail looks like this, which one should you guess? So this is a Serbian guardrail, so that's why the answer is Serbia. And then I answered that, and the bot gave me a check mark indicating that I got it correct. Um, and then there's a bunch of quizzes like that. You have a normal quiz that I did. You have some beginner quizzes as well. And I'd say if you're starting out, then these two are probably the most important for you. You get to learn a lot from these. So like this one, for example, right? This is so important because it tells you a good way to distinguish Serbia and North Macedonia, which are really hard countries to distinguish otherwise. But the guardrail is very useful to distinguish them. And if you played this quiz, then you'd probably know how you can use this to help get the country correct. So that's one thing. Then you also have some other quizzes like subdivision province quizzes, so Cambodian provinces, Canadian provinces, Swiss cantons, whatnot. You have number plates quizzes, flags, like state territory flags, area codes, Brazilian area codes as well, German street city specific signs, Japanese prefecture kanji, a lot of very useful things that actually come in very handy in the game. You have quizzes for all of these, but of course these are like not all required at the beginner level. Like some of these are probably more useful when you're like at an advanced level and you're trying to get like deeper into the game. But if you're just starting out, just the normal quiz and the beginner quiz, I think is good enough for you. So here we have this person trying out the Indonesian kabupaten quizzes. So seems like they're learning the kabupaten. But yeah, that's how it works. If you go to commands, you can also learn a lot of things. So for example, here, let me actually just go here. There's a lot of documents that you can access. So first of all, you do exclamation docs and you can see that there are a lot of documents, few general documents, a few language related ones, some Europe specific ones. So like if you do docs Europe, then you can see all of these. So if you wanted to learn about the guardrails, which I was showing you earlier for Serbia and North Macedonia, you have this document which tells you about them. So there's three different guardrail shapes, and while this is like the most generic one, these two are pretty useful to recognize the country. So this B profile, which we saw earlier, was for Serbia, but you can also find it in like Croatia, Poland, whatnot. And the other one, this one is very common in Czechia and Slovakia. So learning how the different guardrails looks is pretty useful. If you go to list down here, then it also shows you country by country how the guardrails look, and they've also provided a Google Maps link. I also have information about the reflectors here. So Spain, for example, and Andorra have like yellow reflectors on the guardrails. So that's very useful to remember. So these kind of things, tips you can find from certain documents here. And also, if you just want to learn, if you're not sure what a Hungarian bollard looks like, you can just do bollard Hungary and you can see that. Or you could do bollard Canada and you can see the different Canadian province-wise bollards. If you want to see documents for a specific country, those are also available. So here, for example, Documents Indonesia shows you a couple of documents that talk about Indonesia. So here's a picture of Indonesian roofs that can be very helpful. Um, yeah, if you want to see the area codes, there you see area codes for Indonesia, documents, and yeah, a bunch of different stuff there you can see, like number plates, polls. So if you just want to check what country has what pollard or something, you could just do something like this, and that way you're not like overwhelmed by the amount of information on GeoHints. So in my opinion, Plunkett is probably the single best resource for you to actually learn tips and get better at the game. These two channels, especially commands and quiz commands, definitely you should check those out. And outside of that, like I'd say that's the best place to learn about things, other than playing with other people and learning from them. So if you want like written or like documented stuff, then you can go to Plunkett. And if you want to learn via playing, which I think is also like, even if you learn stuff via Plunkett, you still need to play, right? Like you need to put that into practice, you put that into use and learn stuff, right? So always a good idea to keep playing more, and especially playing with others, because then you can also learn about some obscure tips or hints that you might miss. And overall, I think playing with others, learning stuff on Plunkett, playing a lot of GeoGuessr, because GeoGuessr you don't even need a pro account. You can just play with a Twitch account, and also a lot of people will provide you tips when you're playing GeoGuessr. So all those things I think are very nice, and those are probably the best ways to improve at the game in my opinion. And yeah, once you've gotten to like a decent level in the game, you can also check out my other video on how to get good at GeoGuessr, where I talk more about in depth about how to get like even better, like try to get pro in the game and whatnot. So that's a different topic, but you have a video for that. But that's about it for this video. I wanted to just talk you guys through different avenues and different steps, because realistically there are so many good players, they have so much information, and they have created so many like different resources and whatnot to help you improve. But when you have so many things available and you're just starting out, you really don't know what to look for, where to look, and what exactly to learn, what not to learn. So hopefully this kind of gave you an idea of what road you can follow and what tips you can make use of, and where you can play, who you can play with, who you can learn from, all of that stuff. So If you have any further questions, you can let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. But yeah, I would also recommend you guys to check out like some tips videos on YouTube. Uh, of course, playing along and Plunkett is probably the best way to learn, but then sometimes instead of reading a document about about, let's say, I don't know, let's say, if you, instead of like, if you want to learn like South America, not South America tips, but basically just you have like a lot of tips videos, right? So GeoPeter has a tips video series on YouTube, so you can go check this out. A lot of common bollards, common poles. If you don't want to learn them through Plunkett, you can just go and check out his video. He's done like a nice summary of them all. Harrier has some nice videos. Cinnamonique is doing a really good beginner tips video series on YouTube, so I'll link that in the description as well. So I'd recommend you to check out some YouTube videos as well. You can find some very nice, very well put together content there as well. So that's, in my opinion, also a great way to learn stuff that you may not have known otherwise. So summary is, um, let's do this. First, play a lot, preferably get GeoGuessr Pro. Play no moving games, also NMPZ, on maps like Community World, An Improved World, Diverse World, AI Generated World, etc. So not exactly normal world map, but these kind of maps. Play with others. So YouTube Playalongs, Twitch streams. Oh, you can also go to Plunkett, by the way, and if you go to the streaks channel, like you can see people are doing country streaks here, so they have a country streak sort of channel here as well. So you can play along with others here as well. So you can see here people are guessing. Of course, this is NMPZ streaks, so they're guessing Norway, guessing whatever. That's a good thing as well. So Plunkett is also a place where you can play with others, and also just on Discord, right? Like in Rainbow's Discord, I guess there's probably some people playing right now here, so you can play with these guys as well. You'll find some people to play with somewhere: Discord, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. So play with others, learn from them, and uh, join Plunkett's Discord. There you can learn about metas, uh, documents, and all that stuff. Guardrails, poles, bollards, area codes, all of that stuff. Bunch of different things: chevrons, pedestrian signs, Google cars, camera gens. Like there's a ton of different things that you can learn, and Plunkett is like a nice way to see all of those. And also YouTube tips videos. A lot of people have put a lot of time and effort into making them, and there'll be like there'll be plenty of videos that tell you. Like I know trulybuzzy just made a video recently as well talking about GeoGuessr tips for every country that has coverage, so that's a very nice video. And yeah, as I said, Peter has some, Cinnamonique has some, Harrier has some, Wolftrekker has some nice play-alongs where he also talks about his reasoning. I have my own play-along with tips series. So bunch of content that's available to you. It's just a matter of knowing what to consume, what to avoid, so that you don't clog your brain with unnecessary information. And then if you do all of this, then you will most definitely improve at the game. You'll most definitely be better at the game. And yeah, like if you want to get even better than that, then as I said, then you can just check out my other video about how to get good at GeoGuessr. So that's about it for this video. Hopefully I didn't bore you, but yeah, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, again, let me know in the comments and I'll get to you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.